Today I'm going to talk about e-commerce autoscale myth, and something the subline for that is how to work better with robots, and something we do for our customers on a fairly regular basis at Rackspace. So, and I don't know those of you who remember Johnny Five from Short Circuit. That movie's 30 years old this year. Wow, it makes me feel really old. Anyway, just to introduce myself, I'm Chief Digital Technologist at Rackspace. My mum will never understand what I do. I help customers become more successful online. So at Rackspace, we offer advisory services to our customers, and in the past, that used to very much be around IT transformation, how you can move a data center into a managed service. Well, actually, there's not so much of that around anymore. We help customers adopt cloud, but we're also sharing our experience with customers and helping them become more digitally successful. So we have a footprint globally of over 300,000 customers, and they all do really cool and interesting things. Well, actually, most of them do. And it's sharing that experience that really gives us some great benefits. So helping customers move from a more traditional, old-fashioned way of doing business into a digital future is what I'm all about. And one of the things that customers who I talk to are really scared of is being disrupted. We hear a lot about disruption and digital, and you know, if you're a company that's born in the cloud, if your business is underpinned on technology, then you can be agile and you can move quickly. You see the great examples like Airbnb disrupting the travel industry, like Uber disrupting the taxi industry. And that's something that none of our customers want. So hopefully by sharing insights with them, we can actually help them avoid that. And I was with a customer the other day, and one of the things they said to me was, if you don't have a digital strategy, then actually these days you don't have a strategy. And then I got the Forrester research that we co-funded with Salmon, and I opened the front page and it said 81% of customers have a digital strategy. And I was immediately worried that I wasn't going to have a job. And then I looked at the next line and it said 74% of customers would be able to deliver that strategy well, and they're confident they can do it. And then I thought, okay, this is really going bad. But then as you dig a bit further in, you find actually the story isn't quite told by those opening statistics, and actually more like 1 in 10 are delivering really well. So looking at Rackspace about 10 years ago, and this is a photograph from our office and what it used to be like. We used to help customers put servers online and everything was great. But then we got disrupted as well. AWS came along and actually made hosting a commodity. Having a server, putting it into a rack, that's all automated. You don't need to worry about that anymore. Rackspace was in a position where we've been disrupted by someone else. And actually, last year, we announced partnerships with AWS and Microsoft Azure to become a managed cloud company, offer managed services on top of that. So we've had to shift our position from being a pure infrastructure provider to actually working with these new and interesting technologies. Now, I'm going to let you into one more secret, and I did kind of hint about this at the very start. Hosting is fundamentally boring. No one really cares about servers, but there is one caveat to that. If you're doing it right, no one should notice. So it's very rare, in fact, it probably never happens, that a customer calls us up and says, hey, Rackspace, great hosting today. Our servers were quick, everything went well. That doesn't really happen. So what do we do to make it more interesting? And actually, the way that Amazon and Azure have delivered their cloud services are making it even more boring. You can go to a web interface now just to buy servers. So helping our customers adopt new technologies and deliver automation into their business is what they're really after. Customers come to us and say, guys, we really want to understand how we can do configuration management, how we can deploy servers quicker, how we can adopt methodologies that let us do continuous integration and let us become agile and stop us being disrupted. So that's where we sit now as Rackspace, helping our customers deliver these kind of services onto their infrastructure platforms. And I'm going to talk a little bit about the hosting nirvana. The hosting nirvana is the autoscale technique. And actually, autoscale, and that's the motion you have to do when you talk about it, is your infrastructure platform getting bigger and adapting to the requirements of the traffic that come towards it. So automatically scaling solutions that are managed by robots, that are managed by computers. They do the boring bits of work, the bits that are difficult, and actually when humans do them, make mistakes, and so we take that bit away by delivering the Autoscale platform. Now, the hosting nirvana means you never have to worry about infrastructure. When you get more traffic to your site, your solution will get bigger, it will auto-scale. And then when it's quiet at night time, you don't have any traffic, it will go down to absolutely nothing. It manages cost, it manages resources, and everything's great. Now, you'll have noticed that my title on today's presentation was about the e-commerce autoscale myth. Now, in e-commerce, we're at the cutting edge. We're right at the spear point of dealing with customers. If we make mistakes, we get immediate feedback from customers. Performance is the key. I mean, we've just heard about how important customer experience is, and delivering all those great services is about putting the customer in the middle of everything we do. So I just want to get a quick show of hands and completely appreciate, if you don't know or not, whether people use cloud services for their e-commerce platform, whether people use Autoscale infrastructure to manage their e-commerce solution. And the answer is no. So I was hoping no one would put their hand up. And actually, if you go a bit deeper and you talk about public cloud and you talk about production workloads, the numbers are even fewer. Now, I will concede, actually, there are some people out there who are doing this, but they're in the minority. So why is it? Why does no one do Autoscale to deliver e-commerce, one of the most important workloads, and use all the technology? It's 2016. We've got all the technology in place. Lots of other industries use this to deliver their platforms in really interesting and exciting ways. Well, there are 3 reasons that I've thought of why we don't do this in e-commerce. So I'm going to talk a little bit about what those reasons are, talk about how you can potentially address those issues, and then why should you bother? Why should you bother thinking about Autoscale for your e-commerce platform? So the first reason, the first thing that stops you doing it is probably a business reason. Using cloud, deploying these Autoscale workloads is difficult. It takes time, there's something you have to do. Maybe, actually, you use an e-commerce platform that's difficult to license or in some way stops you using the resources that you need to use or want to use. So that business reason is one challenge that actually stops people doing it. The second is a technical challenge. And I mean, we've got all the tools in place to be able to do this. It's easy. But actually, e-commerce is a little bit different. If you get a sudden spike of traffic to your website, you still need to deliver that great customer experience. And deploying new application servers, putting them into the pool, configuring the application, getting them ready, while Autoscale is quick, it's not instant. There is a latency to it. So a 5 or 10 minute delay is absolutely fine in most cases. But if you're an e-commerce site that's getting a huge surge of traffic and you're relying on Autoscale to address that need, 5 or 10 minutes could be a disaster. That could be the time it takes for those customers who your marketeers have got to your site to actually go somewhere else. And actually, the slow response and that customer experience just isn't there. And the third reason is around risk. Why should you bother? No one really does it. As I've already hypothesized here. And actually, if you've got a platform that works, why bother taking the risk? You know, you can buy infrastructure, you can have the platform ready to handle your traffic requirements. You know, I think we talk about the CTO's role and the CIO's role here. Making these sort of changes is potentially business affecting. If something does go wrong, whose head is it that's on the block? So those are the 3 challenges that I think are a barrier to adopting an Autoscale technique. But let's think about the future. It's 2017. We're miles off into the future and we want to do Autoscale. How have we addressed those problems and how have we managed to solve it? Well, first, looking at how you deliver, how you address the business challenge. Managing an infrastructure and actually controlling those environments is becoming easier. It's part of developing a business process. And at Rackspace, we work with our customers to help them use the right tools, the right technologies to have that business management process in place. I think there's also a really interesting point here as well about working with software providers and application providers. I was talking to one of my colleagues and he works for a competitive hosting company. I will assure you this story isn't from a Rackspace provider. And he told me a story about how one of his customers got disrupted and So they were a large online publication, and they had a huge infrastructure estate with them. And he got a call from the CTO one day, and the CTO said to him, you know what? We've decided we want to go with a cloud solution. We want to understand, we want to be more agile, we want to make sure we're delivering performance when we need it, and also we want to make sure our costs are kept under control. And the guy said to him, actually, that's great. You know what, we've got cloud experts, we can come and meet you, we can do a workshop, we can help you do that. And the CTO replied to him and said, actually, you've misunderstood what I meant. We're actually not thinking about going to cloud, we've done it. We've moved our entire publication onto an AWS solution, and I was really just calling you up to tell you that in 15 days when our contract comes up for renewal, we're not going to be renewing. So I think having those conversations up front with customers, having those conversations up front with providers, letting them know what you're trying to do and helping them deliver to those things is actually a really important part of what we do. So number 2 is around the technical challenge and how you handle a sudden increase in traffic. So, you know, maybe it's a bit of a cheat to say this, but I said that the latency around Autoscale can be a problem. Actually understanding when your traffic is going to happen and being able to schedule in advance of that is a way around it. So while it might not be true Autoscale, it's more like scheduled Autoscale. And there's lots of companies out there who do great things around this. So, for example, Netflix know when their peaks of traffic are coming, and they don't auto-scale their environments directly as a result of customers coming online, but they look at their traffic patterns, they understand what they're doing. They know when they're marketing a new TV series and when there's going to be higher demand. So they use that data to help them make smart decisions about when to scale their platform. So in a way, I'm proposing of solving the technical problem not by using Autoscale, actually by using some other techniques. But Autoscale can fit on top of that as well. And then finally, how do you solve the problem of risk? And this is a great photo, actually. I used to live in an apartment just down there on the left, and this guy climbed up the crane on the building site nearby and took a photo of himself. And then, I don't know if any of you have seen it, actually happened in Southampton. In the next frame, he looked up, took one hand off and waved. Quite incredible. But why would you take the risk? And actually, I'm going to flip that point kind of on its head. Why wouldn't you take the risk? Why wouldn't you do this? We talk about being disruptive. We talk about being agile. And actually, this is the risk. The risk of not doing anything is worse. And if you address the business and the technical reasons, then actually you've addressed that problem. And the risk of not doing something is actually much bigger. So what are the benefits? Why would you do it? Well, again, luckily, there are 3 reasons that I'm going to address here. So first of all, an improvement on performance. And this is what we've seen with our customers who try and tackle this problem. Because they're working with a cloud platform, because they're understanding the nature of their application, they spend more time analyzing performance, they spend more time looking at performance improvements. They try and get every bit of efficiency out of their platform as they can. And that's what using an Autoscale and cloud solution is all about. It's getting the most out of the infrastructure as possible. So customers who go down this journey, rather than have a big estate of servers and run it at 20% all the time, want to run lean and want to run efficient, and they see much more improved performance. Technical adoption becomes much easier. So becoming agile, being able to put new features into the solution, being able to put new functions into the solution becomes much easier. Treating your infrastructure like cattle and destroying servers and building new ones, deploying new code becomes much easier. And finally, these 2 contribute to a much better customer experience. You're delivering performance for your customers when they need it most. And we all know that in e-commerce, an improved performance leads to improved conversions, which is better customer experience. Now, there is one other point here that's just worth mentioning. You can budget better. The pay for what you use model, which is actually where a lot of the drivers come from for looking at cloud and infrastructure optimization. Being able to deliver a more efficient and cheaper solution. But actually, that's not the primary reason you should do it. These are the reasons that you should do it. So I'm going to finish off my presentation there. So hopefully you'll learn to trust the robots a bit more, let the computers do the things that they're good at, and let humans do the cool, sexy things that they enjoy doing. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Mike.
Appreciate it. Well done. Thanks.